Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, well, my name is Ingrid Rodriguez Velasco. I'm a senior partner in Ecija GPA law firm, that is a Spanish law firm that is established in all Central America and also several countries in South America. In Ecuador, we have offices in Quito, Guayaquil, Cuenca, and Manta, which I'm running this office. I'm an attorney at law since 2012. I went to law school in the city of Quito in the most prestigious universities as Pontificia Universidad Católica del Ecuador. I graduated with honors, and I'm really proud to be an alumni of that university. I also have 2 master's degrees. One is in process law in Ecuador, and the other is in intellectual property and businesses in technology, that is from a university in Spain. I'm 38 years old. I have a beautiful family here. I live in Manta, and I'm also general manager and legal representative of the International Port of Manta. Right now, I've been there for a year, and I've been in Ecija as a partner over 3 years. I started my business with my husband 12 years ago, and right now we are growing since all the businesses that we can get here in Manta.
Oh, great. Well, as you know, I have a bunch of people that are interested in the United States to look to invest money somewhere else outside the United States because either they might be concerned about what's going on in the United States, or they might be just seeing that there might be some other ways that they can create more revenue from different areas.
Okay. Well, yes. As American citizens, you do have options here in Ecuador. There's an exception for American citizens to open, we can call it bank accounts, savings accounts in credit unions institutions, in which you can have your money here and open also CDs. The CDs will give you a percentage between the 8% to 11%, depending on the credit union. You might say, where is the government security in this? Well, the government security is the same, I think, in the United States. They establish a security until $32,000 per CD. So in case that you want to invest in different institutions or different cities, you can do it as United States citizens. Our constitution, our Ecuadorian constitutions right now establish that American citizens or another citizens have the same rights that an Ecuadorian regarding properties and regarding also in the financial institutions. The difference between a credit union and a bank is that over here a bank, since it has to be regulated by the International Bank Association, you will need to have a cédula, that is an Ecuadorian ID, for open a bank account or to promise to have an Ecuadorian ID. How can you get it? Is having a residency here in Ecuador. The residency here in Ecuador can be given to one person from another country, let's say an American, for a temporary residency visa for 2 years as an investor. There's no restriction of going out and coming back to Ecuador. However, the temporary residency visa only lasts 2 years. So what happened if you are not here the period of time that you need to get the permanent residency visa? Well, you can get another temporary residency visa, and then you can get the same cédula, the same number. You will have it, and you can open bank accounts with bigger banks that are established under the international bank law.
And you mentioned independent banks, or I should say, what was the word you used?
Credit union?
Credit union.
Yes. The credit unions over here are cooperatives that are established, and they are organized by the central government, in which they have to have a minimum of I don't know how to say in English, but like a minimum of, like, let's say shareholders. They're not shareholders, but let's say that they're shareholders, and they help to little business to grow. So they will need the investment of another people to put their money there. They will give you a good rate of interest, and you can have the interest you can have in a monthly basis or in or at an annual basis. let's say that you open a CD for $50,000. You will receive with an 8% return. You can receive the interest every month to your own savings accounts in the same credit union, or you can have them at the end of the CD. Also, you can say, hey, I don't want to keep the CD, so please return my money. They will during the time that you have the CD or before, but maybe you have to pay a little penalty for removing your money. But still, you can have the interest for you, for yourself.
Okay. So if they choose to come to here, to let's say Manta or to Ecuador, what documents would they need to open up an account?
You will need your passport, the social security number, an address here in Ecuador. It depends. If you don't have an address here, you can get like an address with your attorney. They can use the office to have it. A phone number. It has to be Ecuadorian. Why? Because you will have an application. With the app, you can do wires, you can do payments, you can do a lot of things. So for security, they will ask you to send a code to an Ecuadorian phone number. So what I do as a service here in Ecija is that I have a power of attorney for my clients. I open the savings account, then I create the CD, and then when they are ready to do, let's say that they have an app, they use the app in the United States, and they want to send money from an account to another, and they will need a code. They can use my cell phone number, that is an Ecuadorian cell phone number, and they will receive the text with the code, and then they can do the things. That's what I do for my clients here. I've been working with expats over 12 years. I've been POA of maybe 250, 300 people here. I've been doing a lot of work for them, services such as purchase of houses, purchase of the condos, visas, and also now this service of open savings accounts and CDs for investments here in Ecuador.
Okay, so as you know, some of my friends have expressed an interest in opening up accounts here, or at least looking into it.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know, so, well, I don't live there, and I don't really need to come here, do I?
Yeah.
So I said, no, you don't need to come here. I can suggest maybe you.
Yes, of course. We can do two things. If you want to come to see and to know that this beautiful city as Manta, you can come and you can grant a power of attorney in my office, and then I will handle all the paperwork that we have to do with the opening of the savings accounts and CD. Or I work with a notary in Florida, which she can send you the documentation for the power of attorney to your home address. You sign the documentations, you put the POA back in a return envelope to her. She will do the legalization and apostille, and she will courier the document to me, and I can work with that document there. The prices for the power of attorney are between $400 to $500 in or US or Ecuador.
For that particular service?
For that particular service, yes.
And when you mean apostle, a lot of people don't know what that is.
Okay, apostille is an international legalization treaty. It's an international treaty that was signed or is being signed in these years by several countries. US has it, we have it. What gives us the apostille less time to spend in Ecuadorian embassies or consulates to legalize a documentation. For example, let's say that you need to legalize your background check for the visa. Then you go to your state, they will give you the certification, and the same state will give you the apostille. The apostille is a documentation that goes along with the documentation that I'm telling you, and that means that it works here in Ecuador. The apostille is legalization that works in every single country that has signed the international treaty of The Hague of the apostille. Yeah.
And POA is power of attorney.
Yeah, power of attorneys are POAs. The POA must be apostille if you don't do it in an Ecuadorian consulate or embassy. So it's easier and more comfortable for me to send you the documentation. You can read it in Spanish and English. You sign it, and then you return it to my notary in Florida, and then she apostille it, and then she send it back to me.
Okay. So the question I would have for you is, what would be the penalties if they were to pull out, if you know them? I'm
not sure about the penalties because that depends on each of the credit unions that we have. We have right now between 25 or 30 credit unions around Ecuador. In Manta, we work a lot with JEP and another ones that are really brand new as commercial cooperatives and other type of cooperatives that are pretty safe. They are big ones, like for example, JEP is one from Cuenca that has been growing a lot the past 5 years, and the money is secure. Also, as Ecija, as a law firm, we managed to collect the debt from the people that owes to the cooperative. So in this type of things, we have the security that we collect the money that is owed.
Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to know, and everybody seems to knows, they open up a CD account, right? And then there's interest, and they can have that interest applied into another savings account, a separate savings
Yes, but it has to be Ecuadorian, because right now Ecuador has a 5% exit tax. This 5% exit tax will disappear in some point, but right now it cannot be disappeared because we're in a political year. So, however, there's a resolution from IRS from January of this year in which says if you are an international investor that is bringing the money and then you are returning your money as an investor, you will have an exception, but we will have to do a process before the IRS to communicate that you're returning your own investment, no more than that, and you don't want to have to pay the 5% of exit tax.
You're talking about the initial.
Exactly.
What about on the interest? Can you take the interest out?
Yeah, but it will have to pay a 5% tax because you did you made the interest here in Ecuador.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's taking the 5%?
The government, central government of Ecuador, yes.
Okay.
So let's say that you want to return from the interest, you want to return $10,000, you go to the bank will charge you directly the 5% tax.
Okay.
Yes.
And the question I have is a lot of these banks have ATM cards.
Yes.
So when you have, if you're living in the United States, you have an ATM card that's connected to another bank that's in Ecuador.
Yeah, because it's called Banred, and these ATM cards can be used in every part of the world. So there's no issue. Also, the applications, the app in the iPhones and Samsung and other type of Android, you can use these applications to wire money, to transfer money, and also to pay fees. For example, you are buying a property here because you loved and you fall in love with the city and you buy an apartment with the application of these credit unions. Even though you don't have a residency, you can pay your electric bill through the app.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're using a credit card, for an ATM, and you take out that money that's been pushed over to an interest. So let's say you open up an account and just all the interest is going into that account.
Yes.
And then you pull it out of your bank in the United States.
Yes.
Through that, is that 5% less that you're being taxed?
It depends on the amount, because there's a certain amount that they will charge you the 5% tax. Okay. Normally when you go to an ATM, you don't get draw more than $500. Mm-hmm. So for that, you won't have to pay 5% tax.
I see.
Yeah.
Is there an accumulation? For instance, is it
I think
track of everything they're pulling out?
In order to be charged the 5% exit tax, it has to be over $1,000, I think. Mm-hmm. If it's less than that, the government will charge $1.76. I see. Yeah.
Okay. So in a sense, if I'm understanding you correctly, if some of the interest, let's say I accumulated $500-600 in interest at any given time, and I go to my ATM in the United States and I pull out $300. Mm-hmm. There's no tax taken out of that.
As I told you, $1.76 that you can be charged as like bank fees.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there any other legal implications for opening up accounts here that you can?
Not really. The other thing that you must know that is that only Americans can open savings accounts and have CDs without a residency in Ecuador, and also Chinese. The exception is only for those.
Just for Americans and Chinese?
American and Chinese, okay. Not for the other ones.
Okay, so the things I want to make sure I get straight here is that one, your fees for helping somebody in the United States set up their ability to invest money here.
Okay.
And use you as a POA is X dollars, which I heard you say 400, I think it was. Or?
Yeah. Okay, so for the POA, I will charge between $400 to $500. It depends if we do it here or we do it in the United States. Mm-hmm. For the service of opening a savings account, I charge $200 plus the amount of money that you have to put into the account. For example, the minimum that the credit union will ask is $50. From the $50, they will deduct $25 for administrative fees. That is the only thing that they will charge all the time. But after that, you can deposit and wire to that account forever, every time that you will need it. And also, I have the power of attorney to you say, hey, I don't want to have it anymore, I can close it.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know, just out of curiosity, what the fees are usually for a power of attorney in other parts of the world at all?
Well, I'm not sure, because over here power attorneys in Ecuador have to be granted before a notary. Notary here, it's like ancient Rome. We have notaries that they are the guards of the archives of the whole history of the city. So they are picked by the central government, and depends on the number of population of the city to know how many notaries the city needs. Manta has 7 notaries. And I work with notary number 3 and notary number 5, and with them I have a really good trust and a good way to work, and it's easier to get the things done. If we do the power of attorney in the United States, then the apostille has a value, the service has a value, the legalization in the notary has a value. It's not the same a notary in the United States than here, but also this person sends me the original POA to here, and a courier goes between $80 to $100.
Okay. And for how long is the POA good for?
If we do it here in Ecuador, it doesn't have a termination date. Mm-hmm. If we do it in the United States, between 1 year to 2 years.
1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
You don't have to be renewed?
It has to be done again in the United States.
Okay. And so my understanding then would be, if they don't come to Ecuador, then what you're saying is every couple of years they'd have to repay you or repay
for doing another POA in case that you need it, because it's not that you will need my assistance in it all the time. No. Because you can manage more things by email.
Sure.
You will need my assistance when you need a physical signature. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in those situations where somebody's opened up an account the first time and then they just keep renewing their bank, it doesn't affect you in the fees
exactly.
that they charge.
It doesn't have to go through me. It has to go through directly to the credit union.
To the credit union.
Exactly.
Okay. So your services for the most part are setting the whole thing up
and closing the thing.
Right.
Opening and closing it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that we did not cover that you think?
You will need a passport. We work with your passport over here is your international ID. The passport must be updated. And that's how I can do the power of attorney.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just lastly, because there might be a few people that are interested in, if you don't mind sharing what you shared with me when you first came in about you're having a lot of people right now from the United States.
Yeah. Well, right now I've been having daily meetings with a lot of people from the United States that are looking for investment here in Manta. First, one of the things that you have to know that we have the most beautiful beaches around. Second, it's a beautiful place to live. It has everything. You have malls, you have grocery stores that are big, that are small. Everything is organic. The food is amazing. You can get fresh seafood at any time. You can have the best meat ever. You have great people. We are working people in Manabí and Manta. We are people that likes to work. We are the capital of tuna internationally, so you will see a lot of tuna here. And the other thing about the people coming here to Manta is that it's a small town yet. So it's not big as the capital of Ecuador, that is Quito or Guayaquil. And also the other thing is that we are a non-political city. So it doesn't matter what happens in Ecuador. Whoever is the president over here, the private sector and industry has made this city what it is. A beautiful city to invest and grow and have a family here. You have a great quality of life in Manta.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate your time. And,
no, it's my pleasure.
If there's any other questions, I'll just forward them to you. And
yes.
You can do it emails.
And I can do everything for you.
Okay.
Yes, it's always my pleasure to see you, Brad.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.